So as we enter 2018, we're reminded of the many difficulties we faced last year, from Brexit to Trump to choosing our top 10 films list. But I become adverse to the idea of ranking things because God forbid anyone would ever change their opinion over time. So no smug elitist suit wearing nonsense. It's been the dog's bollocks of a year in film. So let me summarize 15 movies I loved in 2017. And starting off, we have the brilliantly bizarre The Death of Stalin. It's Armando Iannucci's colourful wit combined with caricature performances to produce an insightful pantomime that manages to be both funny and uncomfortably tense. As far as period pieces are concerned, it doesn't rely on screaming, "Oh, look how historical and sophisticated I am." It's supremely self-aware of what it's doing and satirises just how ridiculous and contrived politics ultimately is, with an uncanny resemblance to today's state of controversy. And if you need any more oppressive socio-political atmosphere, Blade Runner 2049 beautifully relies on the art of simplicity to tell a tech-noir dystopian fantasy without getting too overindulgent in philosophical meandering jargon that would put me in an existential crisis. After a slow start admittedly, it's that personal sympathetic touch given to Kay's perspective on the investigation that carries the story, as he cuts through the entrancing visual fat to find truth, resulting in Ryan Gosling returning to his stern, quiet, but still very impactful persona. But if Blade Boy could survive becoming a Ridley Scott-esque vanity project, I'm looking at you, call me by your fake attempt to hide the Prometheus sequel, Mother is so far up its own ass that it found a sweet spot to be oddly very enjoyable. It's a self-indulgent, occasionally snooty, but still very much a comprehensible thrill ride of overwhelming claustrophobia, anxiety, and fear to tell a profound and disturbing cautionary tale about why you shouldn't host house parties. Yet, taking that disturbingness to another level, we have my favourite horror movie of the year that makes Mother look tame in comparison and makes the writer-director's previous film The Lobster look like highbrow Shakespearean art. The killing of a sacred deer legitimately creeped me out. It's a haunting but wonderfully shot Greek tragedy of moral ambiguity akin to The Shining, with characters that look and act like they've been lobotomized. It's provocative, unconventional, and unnervingly suspenseful, along with a mesmerizing performance given by Colin Farrell's facial hair. Taking a breather from artsy-fartsy for a bit, we have The Big Sick, a simple tale of family, love, and togetherness captured with poignancy, relatability, and humility. I think most of us can agree that Kumail Nanjiani is this year's MVP, and honestly, out of this year's toxicity, The Big Sick is a charming and much-needed breath of fresh air that reminds us that Ray Romano would make a pretty awesome dad. And if you need any reminder Tom Cruise can be more than just a movie star, his performance in American Made is surprisingly nuanced that it absolves most of his sins for the Mummy. Most of them. Not only is this an interesting true story about a commercial pilot turned US government courier and Pablo Escobar drug smuggler, but Cruise's energy and charisma is enhanced by the brisk pace, dynamic editing, and naturalistic camera work to make for a fun ride that you shouldn't let fly under your radar. Oh look, a pun! Ha! Aren't I witty? Conversely to something fun, we have Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, a heartbreaking black comedy that explores grief through anger and retaliation over life's unfair injustice in a very organic way. The best summary I can give is that it's basically Martin McDonagh's Fargo fanfic inspired by Manchester by the Sea that coincidentally stars two actors from both films. And yes, I did Google to see if Ebbing was a real place or not. It's not. But if you think Missouri looks undesirable, we can't forget about our boy Wolverine roaming post-apocalyptic Texas, or well, just Texas in general. Logan rejects the vapid sensationalism of the superhero comic book formula for a neo-western that signifies the death of one generation and the hopeful flourishment of a new one, culminating in a somber but touchingly sentimental back-to-basics action-adventure that thankfully stands on its own 2 feet. However, with that said, I never thought I'd be taken by surprise by Thor Ragnarok, which in itself rejects much of the overbloated melodramatic nature of the Marvel movies and goes for something that's pure, sincere fun. I have a soft spot for Taika Waititi, but this is a perfect filmmaker matched with a series that needed a makeover. And most importantly, it allows Chris Hemsworth to shine as a supremely good comedic actor, resulting in an electrifying buddy comedy, I know what I did there, with a genuinely understated performance, brilliant comedic timing, and a lot of heart behind it all. And if we're still talking about heart, thank God for Keanu Reeves for keeping the action thriller alive and kicking with John Wick Chapter 2, an exciting neo-noir slap in the face to awaken the genre that not only increases the intensity of its visually alluring style, but it also continues to build upon the underground world that lingers in the background. It's so much more than it looks, and just watching each creatively choreographed long take of a 53-year-old ninja moving with such grace makes me feel disgustingly lazy inside. You know what? I changed my mind. God damn you, Keanu Reeves. That said, to get that kick of encouragement, I turn to Baby Driver, an interpretive dance with cars that sees Edgar Wright at the wheel to give it astonishing attention to detail and debunk the myth that it's your mum's Fiat 500 that's a problem, it's probably just you. Energetic, exciting, and credit should be given to the uniquely quirky characters, especially that of John Hamm and Jamie Foxx. Baby Driver is a homage to car chase cinema done with proper attitude. And if you need a homage to classic Hollywood cinema, there is something to be said about the strangely subversive Get Out, an exploration of racism that swaps out rednecks and vulgar stereotypes for a more liberal approach, which in essence feels like a Key and Peele sketch paced perfectly over feature-length runtime. It starts as a pleasant family drama with awkward but softly relatable humour, and devolves into an eerie mystery as sinister revelations unravel. And visually speaking, how can I not mention Chris's descent into the sunken place? And descending into more absurd madness, we have the pitch black how low can you go comedy that isn't a comedy called Good Time, which makes you hold its beer and forces itself down a rabbit hole of increasingly bizarre encounters and degradingly bad decisions without ever losing focus. Robert Pattinson gives the best performance of his career as an antagonist that you modestly root for as he tries to get his mentally disabled brother out of prison over the course of one night, and what transpires is, I'll let you guess that one. The clue is in the title. And now we transition into what I think is the most mature film I saw this year, and that's The Florida Project. Independent filmmaker Sean Baker takes unknown, inexperienced actors and gets truly emotional performances out of them, on top of Willem Dafoe's super subtle but beautifully sympathetic turn as the caring manager of an impoverished motel in Florida where its guests are semi-permanent. We see this disenfranchised and decrepit world from the eyes of a child to a young negligent mother, and innocuously explore a slice of life that I can't personally relate to, but still become so emotionally attached to. It's a humble piece of raw, undisturbed filmmaking that exerts a genuine concern for its issues in a non-patronizing fashion. It's not the most direct film, but the lightly littered details in the dialogue, the narrative framing of Mooney, and the contrast between a vibrant, colourful setting and a grim reminder of those alienated from society shows that troubles and worries exist in all walks of life. And for many of us, great comfort is found through a sense of community, even if those connections are very short-lived. And to round off this list, no film this year is as distinctive, outlandish, haunting, funny, or gut-wrenchingly tragic as Brawl on Cell Block 99, which I will rightfully give its own video because there's just too much to say without appropriate context. This is the film that Tarantino wished he directed. It's a pulpy exploitation B-movie where realistically not a whole lot happens, but looking through the cracks of its dark, dingy, surface-level cell, it's a compelling character-driven story that manages to feel real and abstract at the same time. Of all people, Vince Vaughn gives truly my favourite performance of the year, and he is the glue that holds this grotesquely violent but humanly sincere crime drama together. And with that, why not share your own favourites of the year with me in the comments below or via Twitter, and until next time, stay safe and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!